The morning chills seem a touch colder today. Welcome back to some more G-Senjou. I'm excited for this because I want to see how this ends up going. It seems like Usami's really determined to catch Maou here. We're going to have this kind of ransom deal going on, and we were told to like get a briefcase and everything, or at least the Miwa household was told to. So we'll see how Tsubaki ends up going with that. But it really seems like Usami is going to try to unmask Maou here a little bit, try to get a better look at him, or to at least face his challenge. So we're going to see how that goes. Alright, I've got a full day ahead of me today, too. Finishing up the preparations for the day, I walked to the door, only to have the cell in my chest pocket suddenly ring. Hello? It was Tsubaki. Ah, it's no problem. Has something happened? Oh, I pretended to be surprised. That's a lot of pressure. Can you do it by yourself? I sensed a steeled resolution in Tsubaki's voice. I'm sorry they can't be with you at a time like this. Well, I still have work to do. I'll come over right after I'm finished. Yeah, after I'm finished. I hung up and walked out the door. Finally. I couldn't contain my amusement. A smile tugged at my lips. Let's enjoy this little game, shall we? Ooh, already starting off strong. I like it. 9 o'clock in the morning. Haru's mind was clear as the winter sky. The power of friendship. Tsubaki was holding certificates in an envelope, cradling it like a precious child. After waiting for Tsubaki's parents, who had walked to the pair to the door, the two of them left for Central Boulevard. Where did all these people come from? Even at noon at Central Boulevard, this monstrous crowd is out of the ordinary. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I don't know if this would be like his style. I'm surprised he didn't send somebody like by their house to like just grab the briefcase prematurely without meeting them. Because I feel like it's a lot more risky for him to like possibly appear, or to even have somebody else appear like he's concerned about. Or no, this is probably not him talking. This is probably Usami. I mean, clearly they would know that there's a big crowd. I just feel like this is a little bit more risky to do something like this. I'm surprised he didn't like do something prematurely. I don't know. I feel like Maou does have a little bit of like honor, I guess if you could call it that, because he doesn't seem to just do things too dirty. I mean, kidnapping you could say sure is dirty, but he does seem like, okay, like, hey, if you give me what I want, I'll give you back. You know, I mean, their son and then her brother. Lucky's stride was getting heavier by the second. Haru matched her footsteps, moving in tandem. In fact, Haru was under the impression that Maou was practically inviting her to participate in this incident. Maou likely anticipated Haru's involvement. If so, then instead of delivering the ransom with Tsubaki, it'd be better to try and hide and pounce on Maou at the opportune moment. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen like that, but okay. For example, the best chance of nabbing Maou might come when his attention is focused on Tsubaki during the exchange. I'd be really surprised if he's here by himself. You know, that's why I would think he would have done something else, so he doesn't have to appear in person. But I mean, we know from a few previous encounters he's not afraid to appear in person. I wonder if that just means he's that confident. Unless he's still worried about going alone. Tsubaki tilted her head dubiously. Haru put her hand on Tsubaki's shoulder. That one sentence made Tsubaki relax, if only a little bit. A hint of crimson flashed across her face and she nodded.
私は極力犯人を捕まえようとする。だが、万が一取り逃がしてしまった場合。
そうなの？
Tsubaki frowned again, apprehensive once more. Tsubaki must still want to follow the instructions of the kidnapper and give him the
いいか、
ransom.
椿。たとえ犯人に逃げられても、身代金さえ手元にあれば、もう一度交渉のチャンスはつかめる。と思う。
Okay, yeah, I mean, I get the logic behind that, but there's no telling that, he won't just go ahead and do something worse. Now I'll try to contact the family again and attempt to get the ransom. And after that, a second battle will ensue. That should be true, but a foreboding feeling wriggled about in Haru's gut. One can claim that Haru's speculations are appropriate, but they make the critical assumption that Mao's goal was to get the ransom. To the best of her knowledge, though, the crime wasn't committed by a person who needs money. Just how much is 50 million yen in shares to Mao? Still, Haru remains stubbornly convinced that Mao was just trying to provoke her. In Mao's eyes, it might be less of a challenge and more of a game. I mean, I know Mao technically probably doesn't need money, but I mean, Kyosuke does need to pay back his dad at some point. He doesn't want that being held over him. Whatever the case, if Mao intends to defeat Haru, she would simply have to beat him to the punch. Of course, there's a chance that Mao might kill Hiroaki-kun out of retaliation when he realizes his defeat. Haru couldn't tear this unsettling thought from her mind.
はるちゃん、昨日も言ったけど、はるちゃんのいいようにして。
I think it's really crazy that she says something like that when, Usami could go around and do something and potentially get her brother killed. I think that just shows like how much trust she has in her. I know she seems to be pretty trusting of anybody, but I'd like to think this is a little bit extra, more than she would just some random person off the street.
ありがとう。そう言ってくれると思っていた。
Saki stuck out her tongue.
はるちゃんって不思議な人だね。
なんだ急に。
ドヨーンとしたり、キリッとしたり。一体どれが本当のはるちゃんなの？
さあ。
To be looked into by another gave Haru a tingling
は
feeling.
るちゃんって転校多かったんじゃない？
まあ。
そっか、大変だったね。
As kind as she was, Tsubaki must have realized that Haru probably didn't have many
おい、
friends.
椿。私はよく気持ちが悪いと言われる。
Her words seeming to come out of nowhere shocked Tsubaki
気持ちが
wide-eyed.
悪かったら、縁を切ってもらって構わないんだぞ。
Haru thought of the past where she perpetually hid her loneliness behind a lone wolf attitude and a cynical facade. However, Tsubaki's response was firm.
悲しいこと言わないで。
Surprised, Haru looked at Tsubaki.
お友達だよ、はるちゃんは。
I wouldn't be surprised if Tsubaki kind of realizes about Haru that maybe she's a little bit of a broken person. Obviously, she wouldn't know why that is, but it seems to me that Usami has something that she's looking for, right? And I mean, we obviously know that, but maybe in Tsubaki's eyes, she sees that in her personality and kind of senses something is wrong with her, right? Beyond just being a little bit weird. There's some people that are just a little bit strange, and that has probably nothing to do with anything that's happened to them in their lives. They just kind of were born that way, right? But clearly, Usami has something about her personality that's kind of hidden behind it that drives her to be the way she is. And I think Tsubaki's pretty perceptive of things like that. Just why would such a pure girl exist in real life? Tsubaki's gaze was firm, charismatic even. Haru decided in the back of her mind to do everything in her power for Tsubaki no matter what happened. She couldn't understand the reason behind it, and Haru's confusion showed on her
最
face.
後に一つだけ聞きたい。
さっきも最後にって言ってなかったっけ？
これが本当に最後だ。そしてかなり重要なことだ。
うん。
Haru fixed her gaze on
椿
Tsubaki.
は浅井さんのことが好きなのか？
Tsubaki obviously hadn't expected that. She blushed red. Really interesting that she's asking that. I mean, I know I can give you some ideas of why that
どう
is.
なんだ？
Because I feel like what's gonna happen here is, will Tsubaki take his side if she finds out who he really is? I would like to say no. I think even if she's in love with him, she's not gonna side with him if he's doing the wrong thing.
どうなんだと聞いているんだ。
さ だよ。もちろん、あんなに頼りになる人いないよ。
Oh, I feel so bad hearing her say that. I mean, I knew that's what she was gonna say, but...
ふーん。
So her first impression was correct. Haru's emotions grew complicated. On the contrary, Tsubaki's mind seemed to have already cleared up.
何にしても、ありがとう、はるちゃん。ひろあきが帰ってきたら、いっぱいお話ししようね。
Haru nodded. This time it was Tsubaki's words that helped Haru relax. After all, she had just gained an excellent friend. Oh, okay, we're just getting straight into it. I wanted to, like, still talk a little bit about that, but they're just, like, getting hype music going. Real quick, I just wanted to say, I feel like this is only a win situation for Kyosuke. Not a win for, like, a good guy, but, you know, a win for his bad side, because he gets what he wants. He gets to move forward, and you know, his corporation gets to take over the land, right? Okay, so if he ends up getting the ransom money, they get pushed out of their home, and then, you know, what's gonna happen is she's gonna go to him for comfort, because obviously she's in love with him. So it's only a win if he succeeds with this, but I'm really curious to see how it goes down, because I feel like Usami might get a win here. It's already 11:10. Tsubaki glanced at the clock on Central Boulevard to double check the time. After parting with Haru, she had been on her own, following the kidnapper's instructions by herself. Almost right after the mall opened, she walked in. Per the criminal's demand, she spent 6,000 yen on a cheap attach. How do you pronounce that? It's a cheap case, okay? It's a suitcase type, or a briefcase. There you go. The ransom, worth virtually everything the entire family owns, is already in that briefcase. Tsubaki dialed on her cell phone Haru gave her. It was really strong in both battery life and signal.
もしもし。
The call connected quickly. The kidnapper's captivating voice circled around her ear.
急いでケースを用意した。デパートの開店は11時だからな。
She had no idea what he was talking about. She had no choice but to rush with her brother's life on the line.
迅速な行動を期待する。
Tsubaki could only give a feigned
今は
response.
セントラル街だな。
はい。
そのまま歩いてオフィス街に来てもらおう。山王物産の本社ビルが見える広い公園があるのは。
公園のどこに行けばいいんでしょうか。
園内には大きな掲示板がある。そのそばで落ち合おう。
わかりました。
急げよ。
Paul was suddenly disconnected. Tsubaki stopped and looked around, searching for Haru. However, sweeping her gaze through the bustling sea of people, she couldn't spot that attention-grabbing hair. She should be following me right now. Tsubaki gripped her briefcase, cutting through the chaotic streets. 30 minutes at the very most. 20 minutes should be enough time to reach the park for the department store on foot, even for a girl. Even though I told Tsubaki we would meet, I have no intentions of fulfilling that promise. Okay. I mean, I didn't think he would. I thought that would be pretty ballsy if he showed up himself. Gosh, that building is so freaking tall. You can't even see the top of it. I need to confirm one thing before I take the ransom. Whether or not the delivery person is truly obedient to the kidnapper. In other words, I need to determine whether she has the sense of responsibility and the stamina required for a successful exchange. Most importantly, whether or not she's contacted the police. So 30 minutes. My gaze followed the minute hand on my watch. I believe that if she's still not here within 30 minutes, then without a doubt the police will be coming with her. Tsubaki's family has ignored my warnings to call the police. There might be 100 officers watching Tsubaki deliver the ransom. In order to capture me, countless police officers would have already begun setting an inescapable net at the park. No matter how quickly the task force responds, doing so would take a considerable amount of time. After all, the police would have to move everyone from Central Boulevard to this park. They wouldn't allow Tsubaki to proceed until they finished organizing their members. That's why I'm being so sensitive to time. If I don't spot Tsubaki within 30 minutes, I have no choice but to cancel the exchange. Visibility in the park is excellent. If there are any undercover cops about, I might be able to spot them. However, I don't have the confidence to say they could do so with absolute certainty. For instance, if you were to ask me who stands out the most, there are two middle-aged couples, a man walking a dog, a man who looks like he's on his way to the office, an old man helping a pregnant woman. There are simply too many suspects. Thus, the least I should do is remember the faces of everyone here. That way, if a person with a familiar face shows up as I order Tsubaki around, I can determine with high confidence that the person's with the police. Down on a bench, scanning the area, searching for any signs of law enforcement. Saw Tsubaki. She was sprinting to the billboard with all of her strength. A girl wearing casual clothes and carrying a briefcase is very conspicuous. A person with an overactive imagination saw Tsubaki right now. They might think she looks like she's running to deliver a ransom. I checked the time. It's in less than 15 minutes since last contact, well then it's about time to issue the next order. However, I need to act on the assumption that there are already an undercover police searching the park. If that is indeed the case, I definitely can't call her immediately. The moment Tsubaki picks up, they'll be searching the park frantically for anyone talking on a phone. Before leaving, I took a second to look at Tsubaki in the distance. Even from afar, I could see she was nervous. She waited for almost an hour. Tsubaki was nearly suffocating from the anxiety, even though she came to the appointed place, not a single person seemed like the kidnapper had shown up. The only people who have come to talk to her are flirtatious young men, not knowing anything about the situation. Her cell phone suddenly rang. The kidnapper is calling.
はいちゃんといますよ
He yelled into the phone. The kidnapper groaned in discontent.
少し騒がしいぞ椿大声を出すな周りの人間に不審に思われるだろうただでさえアタッシュケースを手に持った格好というのはお前のような少女には不釣り合いなのだからな
すみません
The kidnapper's instructions are what made her stand out so badly, but she kept this thought to herself out of fear.
それでこのケースは
大事に持っておけ予定変更だ受け渡し場所を変更する
Tsubaki was lost. She searched for Haru without thinking, but she couldn't find a thread of her
セン
being.
トラル街の駅に行け改札の近くにロッカールームがある使用禁止の紙が貼られたコインロッカーを探す
待ってください今書き留めます
Lodging a cell phone between her head and shoulders, she used her free hands to open her
ロッカー
diary.
の中に身代金の詰まったケースを入れて鍵をしろ
使用禁止じゃないんですか
安心しろ実はちゃんと使える
Warning was probably prepared by him beforehand. Tsubaki waited for her next
ロッカー
instructions.
の鍵をしっかりとかけたら次にその鍵を持って電車に乗れ行き先は終点の桜扇町だ
桜扇町
This is the final stop of the line in the next prefecture. From Central Boulevard, the trip will take 2 hours. Just what is he planning to have me do, calling me out
向
that
こうの
far?
駅に着いたら改札を出たあたりで待て
また連絡をもらえるんですか
いいやお前から連絡してこい
わかりました次こそ
椿がいい子にしていたらな
He used a frivolous tone. He's probably just messing with her. Tsubaki's unreleased emotions are rising and crashing inside her chest, waiting to explode at the light's
あな
touch.
たの言うことは守りますだから絶対に弟を返し
Flames of anger began to swell within the girl. Yet, even with Tsubaki in this state, the kidnapper spoke to her in a mocking
返さな
tone.
かったら
許さない
She herself was surprised at her strength and harshness in her words. Unbearable silence followed. Terror attacked her. She may have angered the kidnapper. An inappropriate provocation may bring disaster upon Hiraki. If that truly happened, how could she possibly endure the knowledge she was responsible? Everyone spoke quietly.
私がお前を人間にしてやる
What the hell does that mean? His words only confused her. Especially she thought the acid connection was cut into a human to have some kind of philosophical meaning. She's never been good at understanding hidden meanings, and besides, it's natural for her to understand the ideas of an E. It's not natural. Besides, it's natural for her not to understand the ideas of an evildoer. There we go. Of a man who kidnapped a child. She collected her feelings and walked to the station. I wonder what exactly he's having her go out to that station for after giving the money. Just waiting for the light to change. Someone spoke to her.
椿そのまま聞け
Look, I had no idea when she had appeared, but Haru was sitting beside her. I figure she's been following her the entire time, but she just can't show herself, you know? So to Tsubaki, keeping her eyes straight ahead rather than
お
looking
前
at
は
her.
犯人の指示をメモに取っているな
日記に
じゃあそのページだけ破って歩きながらそれとなく捨ててくれ
わかったよ
The light turned green. People began to search forward. Once she got to the other end of the crosswalk, Tsubaki looked behind her. Haru was already nowhere to be seen. Even now, Tsubaki had a sense of resistance to littering. She realized Haru would pick it up immediately, so she felt a little bit better about it. Ah, yes, littering. The most evil thing. How could we stoop to Mao's level by littering? 2 hours and 10 minutes have passed. If one hurried, they should have been able to get from the park to Sakuraogi City in 2 hours. If it takes Tsubaki any longer, there's possibility of police involvement. I, of course, am still on Central Boulevard. After finishing all my preparations, it's time to backseat the car and gaze at the scenery outside. Populace ignored the cruelty of the winter's cold, and the street grew even livelier. A panicked voice came through the other end of the line. Are you there?
どこに行けばいいんで
Hope you didn't lose
ちゃ
the
んと持っ
key.
てます
Gave her the instruction decided upon a long time ago. Come back. Ignoring Tsubaki, who was in an utterly morbid state, I continued. Come back here and retrieve the briefcase from the locker. There's no reason for me to explain.
何のために
To get the ransom, of course.
ひょっとして
Who
だっ
knows?
たらこんなことは無駄です。本当に警察には
Clear from her voice that she'd like nothing better than to just give me the ransom right this second. There's no police involvement.
絶対です。
There's a reason she had to go from Tomenbetsu to Sakuraogi City. Police take their respective jurisdictions seriously. Tsubaki was being backed by the police, and this kidnapping investigation would have to be transferred to the other prefecture. Thus, the arrangement of personnel would be put into disorder once more. Such an event would be considerably hinder police mobilization in this prefecture. Of course, there's a chance the police departments have made contact previously and are working together. However, police are people who are very conscious of territory, if not quite at a Yakuza level. According to my judgment, the police of Tomenbetsu and Sakuraogi City won't rally together just for a kidnapping incident. That's a good thing I didn't send her to Tokyo. That was my original plan. Never would have guessed that this prefecture and Tokyo Police Department keep an unexpectedly good relationship. I only found this out a short while ago. That was dangerous. Fine, I will believe you. Tsubaki's actions are swift, without hesitation. At the very least, she shouldn't have had time to be in close contact with the police. Next time, I promise, next time I will retrieve the ransom. Feeling confident I'd done enough to preclude the police's involvement and continue on with this battle.
ケースをロッカーから出した後、どこに持っていけばいいんですか
Take the subway to the residential area in the southern district. I'm going to give you the address you need to go to, so I can confirm the address after I told her the details. White car will be parked there, its door will be unlocked, take the ransoms in the back
それで
seat.
どうするんですか
Wait for me to arrive. Are you uneasy? Does the thought of being in a cramped car alone with me frighten you? I laughed coldly.
何を考え
I was hoping to go for a ride. I'm really looking forward to it. Hung up and commanded the driver to go. Ooh. I was like, is he gonna kidnap her too? Another 2 hours or so, Tsubaki stepped back into Central Boulevard. The sun sets early in winter. It was already evening by the time she arrived at the southern district.
おい椿
It was Haru. She had suddenly appeared behind Tsubaki, calling her name. Haru spoke
お
abruptly.
前が桜荻町に行っている間私はケースの入ったロッカーをずっ
そうなんだ
She didn't go with me to Sakuraogi
椿
City.
を追うかロッカーを見張るか迷ったが後者を選択したなぜなら誘拐犯が鍵を手に入れたとしても身代金が欲しければ必ずロッカーを開けなければなら
Haru's explanation was more than enough to wipe away the anxiety in Tsubaki's heart.
もう少し人手があれば
Haru said these words of a hint of loneliness. The moment she finished, she once again disappeared into the sea of people. Tsubaki felt an ache in her heart. Maybe Haru doesn't even have a single friend that she can rely on. Not thinking, she murmured,
君
Yosuke were with me, I'd certainly have all the courage I need. Tsubaki savagely whipped her weak heart for the sentiment. Wishing for unattainable things will bring her brother back to her. Her grip on the briefcase tightened as she headed towards the southern district. She had no idea why she called out Kyosuke's name. Tsubaki has pretty much never been there before, and the southern district is, as a whole, is a very quiet residential area. Setting sun has dyed the newly built western houses and the metal fences surrounding them a bloody red. Tsubaki checked the address again as she searched for her destination. She saw the car. It was her everyday white sedan. Tsubaki didn't know what the kidnapper's car would be like. Thankfully, there was only one white car in the designated place. It's in the back seat. Her heartbeat grew violent. She never dreamed she'd be going on a ride with the kidnapper. Might even hold her captive. Nevertheless, in the end, she still wanted her brother to be released. Her hero Aki sacrificing himself would be an easy price to pay. Aki walked closer to the car, trembling as she rounded the bumper. Hesitantly, she forced herself to peer for the window. There's no one inside. She decisively reached for the door handle. Aki slid into the back seat. She put the briefcase containing the ransom on her knee, letting a deep breath flow from her lips to calm herself. Silence reigned. The car was almost completely devoid of sound. Small beads of sweat soaked through her palm. The only noise that reached her ears was her own heartbeat. Silence only made her wait more torturous. She was being tortured by anxiety. The moment she closed her eyes, Hiraki's face floated before her. Where is he right now? Is he eating well? I just want to hurry up and see him. Hearing the ring of her cell, Tsubaki instinctively opened her eyes. She retrieved the cell from her pocket in a
車の中の
panic.
居心地はどうだ
It was the
せっか
kidnapper.
くのドライブなのに 安い車で申し訳ないな。
Didn't understand him. What does it matter how much the car costs? Tsubaki had read in a book that men had put great focus on appearances. To her, it was something incomprehensible.
まだですか？
今行く。
However, at that instant, Kidnapper suddenly lowered his
そういう
voice.
ことだ。
His voice changed. It lost the ease it once held. The question wasn't answered. After a brief silence, the call was disconnected. Yet another unexpected event was hurled towards Tsubaki, still confused by the kidnapper's last words. Someone rapped on the car window. Following the sound, there was a face Tsubaki had never seen before, stared her down emotionlessly. A hat and a uniform. She trembled. Her jaw hung wide open. The one thing that criminals fear the most stood just beyond the car window. Police. Tsubaki sank into terror, having no idea what she should do about the sudden appearance of the police. Her knees were shaking. The police officer was asking her to get out. Her vision was hazy. Dizziness gnawed at her, and her stomach lurched with every motion. Tsubaki stepped out like a mindless robot. When she opened the door, she put the briefcase down the seat almost subconsciously. I wonder if Usami called them. It was a reading question she didn't want to answer. Does this car belong to you? Tsubaki was more nervous than she had ever been in her life. She listened to the policeman's question like an uninvolved bystander. What are you doing here? Tsubaki shook her head, making meaningless sounds such as ah and eh. Though she thought she managed to reply that everything was fine. However, the policeman kept on saying this is standard procedure, just answer. He also mentioned something about the possibility of the car being stolen and other things along that line. She's completely incoherent. She had never been spoken to by a police officer before. She almost wet herself from fear. The kidnapper saw her with the police. How would she explain? There are two of them. Also two bicycles, but those are only fleeting images before her eyes. What's that briefcase? One policeman pointed to the car behind her. Can we check inside it? The question jerked her slightly back to her senses. A strange sense of purpose began to take a hold of her.
目です。
She didn't know when it happened, but the policeman in front of her was holding a
ダメで
briefcase.
す。
It was a briefcase with a ransom inside, the briefcase containing her brother's life. They looked through it. Police would know about the kidnapping. The train of thought searched her mind. She thought she'd never see her brother again. Rushed towards her. That fear purged all reason. Tsubaki lost track of her own actions. A freakish scream burst forth in the air. She reached for her hands and grabbed something as tightly as she could. Her fingertips felt the cool, hard shell of the briefcase. The policeman said something, but Tsubaki never heard a word. She was running. She was facing away from the policeman. He yelled for her to stop. May have reached her back, but not her brain. Fear. Yet her legs as if they didn't belong to her, but some other animal kept on sprinting. She ran away wordlessly, panting, dizzy, almost falling down. She felt as though she had become a criminal. Driven by the guilt and oxygen deprivation, her tears couldn't be stopped anymore. There was no time for her to cry anymore.
すみません。
Having successfully escaped and now making her way to the bustling crowd of Central Boulevard, Tsubaki was still on
すみ
edge.
ません。でも逃げましたから。
She begged to fold as she had. The kidnapper answered with a voice colder than she had heard
なぜ
before.
謝る？あれはハプニングだったのだろう。
知りません。警察の人がいるなんて知りませんでした。
知らなかったのならなぜ謝る必要があるんだ？警察と示し合わせていたのでなければ。
それは
The person in the line didn't let his guard
裏
down.
切ったな。
違います。
私をあそこで捕まえる算段だったのだろ
本当です。信じてください。
う。もういい。取引は中止だ。
そんな。
As though their head had just been struck by a blunt object, this continuous Hiraki is
何で
gone.
もします。何でもしますから弟にはお願いです。
At the end of her pleading, she was unable to even form sentences. Her eyes were filled with
そんな
tears.
に弟が大事か。
もちろんです。
なぜだ？
なぜって家族だから。
At that, the kidnapper laughed
そうか
coldly.
家族だからか。そうだな。家族は大切にしなくてはな。
Continued with a mocking tone.
椿はさぞ大切に育てられて清く正しく成長したんだろうな。
どういう意味ですか？
言葉通りの意味だ。お前からにじみ出る善良さが眩しくて仕方がない。
I find it really interesting that Maou, like, Maou says a lot. I don't think he needs to say this much. I don't think he needs to be this observant about things, but he really makes a point to say quite a lot here. Lucky understood the comment even less. Everyone always says she's a good person. Kyosuke had even joked about it, but isn't everyone else good too?
善良さというものは大抵の場合偽装した悪徳に過ぎないと私は思っているが
Just couldn't take it anymore.
いいだろう取引を続ける
ありがとうございます。
She lowered her head in thanks without thinking about it. Even in this outrageous situation, she still showed her gratitude for the
も
criminal.
う少し慎重にやらせてもらうとしよう今後はたとえ警察が絡んでいても身代金を受け取れる手順を踏ませてもらう
Lucky was getting to think that the kidnapper's still human after all. As long as she asks him with sincerity, he'll understand. He might even have a good reason for kidnapping Hiraki. Now, for the first time, Tsubaki found herself interested in the kidnapper's thoughts and feelings. Which I understand why she'd think that way, because he keeps saying so much. He makes it like more personal than it needs to be. I wonder why that is. So interested, in fact, that she completely missed the point when she had stopped asking questions, the point when she became completely obedient. Sun is set. Young wind carries a chill. I leaned on a railing, continuing my conversation with Tsubaki. After that exchange, I had Tsubaki go to the Western District in a nearby city there and back. Forms of transportation included walking, cable car, taxi, and other methods. Almost everything was done with utmost care. The area in the Southern District is already in an uproar over Tsubaki. The girl holding a briefcase is always very conspicuous. With someone that suspicious, there's always the possibility that an upstanding citizen might report her. And one can't say that the police won't connect a suspicious person with the kidnapping. So it would be practically impossible for the police to both become certain that the suspicious person is Tsubaki and to find out that she's a victim of a kidnapping all within a single day. I will retrieve the ransom today. I left no evidence behind. That white car was stolen anyways. Its disposal had already been prepared. It'll be no more than a piece of scrap metal in a factory in another prefecture by morning. If one was worried about the police finding some trace evidence in the car, then his time wouldn't be better spent worrying about the possibility of a catastrophic eruption of Mount Fuji happening at exactly noon tomorrow. Almost everything's prepared. The only thing left is Usami. She seemed to have been trailing Tsubaki, only keeping her distance. Even though I've been watching for Usami as I kept track of Tsubaki, I couldn't find him at all. That freakish hair is completely unfit for following people, but that may be where the blind spot is. Hair that long, changing hairstyles is a snap. With a hat and glasses, she could become a completely different person in an instant. Yet in the end, I will be the one to take the ransom. In the meantime, I'll have them run around and waste their strength. Another headache attacked me, but this time I must endure it. I can't surrender to that headache right now. Depression was fiercely burning inside me, igniting my will to fight. I won't let you interfere, neither you, Azai, nor Usami. Ooh. Like he's fighting himself. Come on out, Maou. It's already around 8 o'clock. Haru had been running here and there all across the city since before noon. Now after nightfall, she returned to the park of the Eastern District. Haru hid herself in the grass, not making a single sound of fear of being heard over in the silence of her surroundings. The park is a place where people come to relax during the day, but at night only an eerie quiet remains. I wondered how Tsubaki was holding up after all this walking. Before coming to the park, Tsubaki had been told to lock the briefcase in the locker again. Taking only the key, she came to a garbage can in the park. Haru didn't even glance at the locker this time around and chose to follow Tsubaki instead. If someone wanted to get the ransom, they must get closer to the locker, and to open the locker, they would need the key. Even someone watching the locker. Haru had run into Kyosuke on Central Boulevard. After she explained things, Kyosuke was more than happy to help. Even though he said he was helping his father, he had a surprising amount of free time. Oh, interesting. Like his cell phone rang. Haru concentrated on the noise around her. It would be bad if she showed her face now. She could only follow the situation through sound.
わかりました。
Loki's exhaustion made itself apparent in her voice. It's understandable. She's been in a state of heightened anxiety all day. She'd almost fainted when the police had showed up.
鍵をゴミ箱に捨てればいいんですね。
She didn't know whether or not Tsubaki was doing it on purpose, but Tsubaki had repeated the kidnapper's
わかりまし
instructions.
た。すぐ行きます。
I mean, I think part of that's her personality, but maybe it's to tip off Haru as well. I mean, it works both ways. Tsubaki finished the conversation. Haru heard the sound of a cell phone closing. Footsteps followed. As footfalls grew quieter, it seemed that Tsubaki had left the area. Haru remained still, curling her body into a ball. If she just stayed there, Maou would definitely come to retrieve the key. No, that's wrong. Is she exhausted as well? There's no way Maou would show up. After all, Tsubaki still had the key. She had been listening closely all the while, and she didn't hear the sound of Tsubaki dropping anything in the garbage can. Tsubaki said so I should just throw the key in the garbage can. However, that was most likely something she just said by chance. If Tsubaki were repeating Mao's instructions intentionally, then she could have supplemented herself through other actions to further detail the situation. She could have thrown the key in with an excessive noise or made sure to speak out to confirm that she did so after throwing it in. What's more, if Tsubaki was really repeating his instructions for Haru's sake, then the last thing she said was, "I'm on my way," would be too vague for Haru to determine where she would be going. Now, in Tsubaki's conversation was probably something more along the lines, "So I should just throw the key in the garbage can? No, wait, go to Central Boulevard instead. I understand, I'm on my way." Tsubaki had grown even more afraid of Maou after her encounter with the police. She probably so anxious that her heart is about to explode. A situation like this is easy to imagine she wouldn't have the energy to concern herself with what Haru was up to. Gosh, everything's still like so well thought out. So I'm like, oh yeah, the idea of like her being the one like, hey, should I throw the key in the garbage? And he's like, no, go somewhere else. That logic makes sense. And then, you know, you saw me listening to see if something was actually thrown in the garbage. Nothing was. A lot of thought process going into this. Simply interpreting a sentence incorrectly could have caused her to retire before this idea came to a
それに
conclusion.
してもいつになったら現れるんだ。
You know, she spoke, Haru felt the time of battle rumbling towards her with impatient force. How many places has she been dragged to now? She's forgotten just how many times she's changed locations. Continuously in a state of extreme tension, Tsubaki's puffing with every word.
頑張るな、椿。
Kidnapper was on the
もう
phone.
9時になるか。そろそろ弟たちを寝かしつける時間じゃないか。
Toki asked, breathing
お金
hard.
は必ず渡しますから弟を返してください。
そればかりだな。
ひろあきが帰ってくればそれでいいんです。
だが、身代金を渡したりして。
What are you saying at this point? Tsubaki already lacks the strength to think things
その金
through.
は家族の全財産ではないのか。
はい。
金を失えば弟は帰ってくるかもしれんが、お前たちは路頭に迷うことに。
弟の命には変えられませんから。
Colonel sighed,
命は
impressed.
金に換えられないというが、果たして本当にそうなのかな。
当たり前です。お金より大事に決まっているじゃないですか。
そういった決まり文句こそ貧乏を経験したことのないな。
Sure, Tsubaki has never seen her parents worried about being poor. Her family might not be rich, but they're definitely not impoverished. Kidnapper kept on repeating questions she couldn't understand. The subjects confused her. Just what did they have to do with the ransom?
早く終わらせませんか。
もう限界か。
いえ、ただ
弟の命がかかっているのに。
The instant the flame of Tsubaki's heart burned
違い
again.
ます。弟に早く会いたいだけです。
Utterly unforgivable, Tsubaki immediately began to doubt herself for feeling such intense hatred for this unforgivable criminal. The moment that her words had burst the dam, she couldn't
許さ
stop.
ないから。ひろあきに何かしたら許さないから。
You no longer understand anything. What happened to the self that was worried about the kidnapper's feelings? What happened if she provoked him again? I just want to see Hiroaki. That was the only thought in her heart.
心はいいか。
Kidnapper suddenly spoke
次が
up.
最後の指示だ。今すぐ駅のロッカーからケースを回収しろ。そして9時半までにセントラル街のハンバーガーショップの前まで来い。
No longer any time to write in her diary.
9時
It'll be a stretch to make the trip in a short amount of time
急げ
remaining.
ばなんとか間に合う。店の前の歩道にケースを置いてすぐに走り去る。
半。わかりました。
She can only
以上だ。
obey.
遅れたら弟の命はない。今度は絶対だ。身代金を確認したら追って連絡する。
This isn't going to end up being like the scene at the start, right? Because remember, we had that kind of CG, and then it was us and, you know, Haru, and we were kind of walking by each other. I wonder if that's going to be what this turns into. Loki kept the cell to her ear for a moment longer. She never thought that paying the ransom would be so exhausting. Kidnapper said this would be the last place. Up until now, he said that every single time, and it was a lie every single time. Still, this time feels different. She thought of the family waiting for her at home. Her parents were probably worried about her. I'll be back soon. Haru chased after Tsubaki full of her strength as she sprinted through Central Boulevard. She rushed into the station to retrieve the briefcase. Tsubaki might be tired, but she still moves amazingly quick. It's like she's using every ounce of strength remaining in her body. The train station was in chaos. She had no time to look for Kyosuke, who was supposed to be guarding the locker. Damn it. Haru swept across the chaotic street. Her line of sight was blocked, almost completely blocked. Young people filled the streets like a mudslide. Just how many people has she bumped into already? The shape of Tsubaki's coat would often get swallowed by the sea of people, momentarily gone without a trace. This is the routine that Haru usually takes, and this is the route that Haru usually takes. Where did I get routine from? This is the route that Haru usually takes on the way home after work, but this is the first time she's seen it in the crowd. She knows the reason for this almost instantly.
みんな私テレビ出るよ
A live television broadcast. Ooh. Everyone who wanted to see canon or be on television pressed ever closer to the stage. On the other side of the road were cars and station staff manning equipment. This is the moment Maou has been waiting for. So chaotic it was suffocating. Surely an excellent chance to grab the
Tsubaki!
ransom. Haru wanted to stop Tsubaki to ask her where she was bringing the ransom, but her shouts were lost in the crowd. Tsubaki didn't have time for questions anyways. Maou must be urging her on. To have Tsubaki at a speed he's never asked of her before meant that to Maou, this is the moment where the winner will be decided. If I'm gonna act, it has to be now. Haru charged towards Tsubaki. Interesting. Oh. Okay, I'm just trying to see if like there's anything I can see like in this. Tsubaki breathing hard, finally reached her destination. She relentlessly prayed, please don't let it be 9:30. Also, this girl right here in the front, that's kind of blurred out, she looks like Mayuri from Steins Gate. Does anybody else see it? Maybe? Relentlessly prayed, please don't let it be 9:30. Girl pushes through the sea of people, surging straight forward, knocking into the crowd. With yelling curse at her, she caused a lot of people trouble. However, she can't spare the time to apologize anymore. She was in a hurry. She even fell down, dropping the briefcase on the ground. The briefcase more important than her life. She held it tightly as she crossed the deluge of people with lightning speed. Tsubaki stopped. She looked around casually. Should be okay to just drop it here, right? Wouldn't it be picked up by someone who isn't involved in this, would it? The kidnapper said to put down the briefcase and run. That moment, an unbelievably bright voice shot through the crowd from nearby amplifiers. Oh, freaking cannon. Tsubaki was speechless, unable to believe her ears. Why is cannon? It's way beyond her comprehension. Still, he heard it clearly. It's 9:30. If I don't drop the briefcase and run here off, he's dead. The exact moment Tsubaki set the case on the ground, I went into action. I walked through the crowd, closing the briefcase quickly. I gripped the briefcase tightly. It's been less than 5 seconds since it's left its previous owner. Everyone's eyes are focused on the radiant entrance of the famous figure skater Azai Cannon. This confusion is what I wanted. I've been waiting all day to coordinate my retrieval of the ransom of this broadcast. The chaos is what I wanted. Even if the police were right behind me, I have confidence I could escape. That'd be true for one reason alone. I am simply too familiar with this city. Consider many escape routes. Usami is simply a girl. What can she do? Shout from behind me penetrated the din of the spectacle. It was Usami. It seems that she's been closely following Tsubaki. She caught a glimpse of me. Anyways, Usami, just how many people do you think are carrying briefcases in the bustle of people so close to the business district? As I expected, no one paid any attention to me. Shouting is useless now. I straightened up, walking casually. If there was a thief, they'd be running for their life. No one would think that I was a kidnapper. Now something's wrong. Along with a shiver down my spine, the stage figure sent a sound to me. Broadcast could pose trouble. If I face the cameras, there's a chance they'll be on film. My face surfaces during a piddly little game like this may affect future plans. I want to run right now, but doing something would be like announcing to everyone I'm a thief. Gosh, they are so close to each other. Crossed path with someone and took the opportunity to peek behind me. Caught a glimpse of Usami's long hair for the crowd. For just an instant, Haru saw the figure of a man holding a briefcase. That was Maou. She continued to push forward while trying her hardest to break through the mass of people. Next time she saw Maou, Haru ran straight into someone's arms. After a word of apology, she escaped through his side. Anxiety urging her on, she continued searching for Maou. There. Through the wall of men and women and children, Haru could only get a glimpse of the briefcase. She surged forward with all of her might in order to break through the barricade of people. The distance between them didn't decrease. Haru held out her hand in the crowded tide of passerbys. Just a bit further, she thought. Just a bit farther and I'll catch you, Maou. Passed through the most chaotic part of the crowd. Did I successfully lose Usami? It's dangerous to turn my head around. There's a chance my face will be seen. Usami might be able to reach me any second now. Should I take a taxi, perhaps? But with traffic the way it is right now, no car can take off immediately. No, wait, a taxi. I watched the side mirrors mount on the taxis that lined the streets as I walked. I was in luck as the mirrors clearly reflected the uniform and hair of Usami still trailing me. Looks like she's holding something in her hand. She less than 10 yards away. Usami was likely able to get a lock on me as in pursuit. I don't want to attract attention, but there's no other choice. I break into a run. Maou suddenly took off. He didn't even turn back. How did he know that she was getting closer? Shortly thereafter, Haru saw the parked taxi strewn about the road and started to lament. Haru looked at Mao's retreating figure. He was a very tall man. He was similar to the person who had confronted her last time. The man who had called himself Maou. Because his legs were longer than hers, the distance between them just continued to increase. And chasing him was still quite easy. Thrown into a crowd such as this means gathering attention. Sounds of the people he pushed, the confused stares, all were focused on Maou. While pushing her way through idle bystanders, Haru watched as Maou went inside a coffee shop. Like a rat in a trap, Haru thought. When Haru arrived in front of the store, she cursed her own thoughtlessness. A large-scale coffee shop. The shop covered a large area, being at the crossing of a major intersection. Of course, there were more than 2 exits. Even if for just a moment she regretted slowing down. Maou ran in intentionally. That must mean he knows this city like the back of his hand. Should she give chase until the end? Haru asked herself a question that needed no answer. No matter what, she wants to catch him, both for Tsubaki and for herself. After passing through Central Boulevard, the crowd began to thin out considerably. Ugh. Gosh, I need to take a break from talking for a second. I'm like, wow, this is an intense, heated scene. I really like it. Just playing this cat and mouse chase through the city. I think this is going to give her a lot of ideas as to who Maou is. I mean, I feel like she kind of maybe already knows, but ooh, I'm excited to see how like they're going to conclude this. Is he going to get away and then they're just going to leave it at that? And then what's going to happen afterwards? Because she's going to be like, hey, Kyosuke, you were supposed to be watching that thing, and oh, you look kind of like Maou. Turned around, took a few glances. Even though it's hard to see in the nighttime lighting, the sound of people's insults reached me just fine. Looks like Usami's still on my trail. She's quite stubborn. Let's get rid of her completely. Jumping over the railing of the sidewalk, I rushed into the road. Ran in front of cars moving at a snail's pace due to the traffic jam and made it to the sidewalk on the other side. Cars blaring horns are unending. This should help Usami find me more easily. Continuing my charges, I turned into a discreet alley. Dark alley. After seeing what awaited me there, I knew I'd already won. This game of tag is over now. Took out a handkerchief and covered my fingers, ensuring it won't leave fingerprints. That's how many times she said that since 9:30. Each time she showered annoyed stares of condemnations. The thing she carried was bulky. Haru glanced around after chasing after Mao's image. Even though they'd left the extravagance of Central Boulevard, it was still very bright out. The hundreds of cars in the street, all with lights on, were a very reliable boost to its visibility. The sound of horns suddenly rang out into the crowd. Glancing over, it seemed that a man who looked like Maou was casually jaywalking. His face was hidden behind the blindingly bright headlights of the vehicles he blitzed past. It was regrettable, but there's nothing Haru could do about it. Just like that, Maou turned into an alley between 2 buildings. Haru hurriedly pursued him. An incredibly narrow alley with a horrible line of sight. Not even 2 people would be able to walk abreast. He invited me to follow him. Even though Haru was elected, there wasn't much room for her to think. She gave chase, rushing in the darkness. She felt something weird under her foot. She lost her balance and fell forward to the ground. It was a feel of flesh. Haru was shocked when the thing she stepped on screamed. As she calmed down, she realized it was a human leg. She stooped down instinctively. A peculiar putrid odor filled her nose. A few homeless men sat on the ground. They stared at her with lifeless eyes before losing interest again. They seemed to be distracted by something. They were kneeling fiercely, moving their hands, as though they were digging, as if they were trying to stir the darkened ground. Money. Haru could see a few bills poking out from under their hands. "I've already lost," she said to herself, full of regret. She lifted her head and glanced down to the other end of the alley. Now, the enigma whom Haru had her sights nailed to was nowhere to be seen.
Tsubaki.
Murmur escaped her lips before a wave of exhaustion overcame her. The day-long battle had finally come to an end. Well, she definitely lost. I mean, not a surprise. But very, very interesting chase scene. That was quite long. There was a lot of build-up throughout the whole thing. In any case, everyone worked very hard. I talked as if nothing had happened. Only Tsubaki and her father were in the living room. Sorry that was of any help.
いいの。ありがとう。
Did you do everything that the kidnapper ordered you to do, Tsubaki?
多分途中でアクシデントもあったけど。
And the perpetrator should release Hiroaki.
そうだと。
I wiped the sweat off my forehead and exhaled deeply. Today's work was insanely busy. Can't believe I had to run all across the city. Gonzo really works me hard. Yeah, Gonzo. Yeah, Gonzo works you hard, yep. I'm sorry, Azai-kun, we've had such a load on your shoulders. Please don't worry about it. Everyone's in the same boat here. I'll try to help as much as I can from now on. From now on, of course, means the paperwork. As the ransom has been taken, there's no way the Mio family could possibly pay back the 50 million. Although if the time limit is up, the loaner will immediately take the land as collateral.
あとははるちゃんか。
What'd you say?
はるちゃんが犯人を捕まえてくれているかもしれないの。
Right, Usami, that irritating woman. Usami's gonna catch the kidnapper, she says. Saki, did you ask her to do that?
きっちりお願いしたわけじゃないけど。
I see. This girl's an idiot. If you were gonna rely on someone like Usami, you might as well have just called the police in the first place. They're many times better than her.
はるちゃん張り切ってたし、きっと良い結果をもたらしてくれると思うんだ。
Possibly. She said that, opening her deep eyes. Seems that these two women have been playing a cute little game of friendship while I was gone. Anyways, catching the kidnapper would be best. Brushed away a smidgen of worry. When you stop to think for a second, there's no way a girl like Usami could go up against a kidnapper who abducted a child and demanded a ransom and stock certificates. I say that, and I might be paranoid, but there does seem to be something about Usami hiding under the surface. It'd be very problematic to me if the kidnapper didn't successfully get the ransom.
あ、噂をすれば来たんじゃない？
Speak of the devil, she says. Sound came from the front door.
血はす。
A suddenly face of a monstrous sight. Yo, Usami, why are you sweating so much?
まあ自分基本走り込みが足らないんで。
Yeah, sure. Sounding her typical nod, said she rested against the door frame. I just think it's great because Maou is aware of Kyosuke, but Kyosuke doesn't know of him. So it's like, it's just the perfect cover, you know?
はざいさん、ロッカーを見張っててもらいましたよね。
Alright, when we met on the street by coincidence, right, the ransom was in the locker and you told me to guard it.
助かりましたよ、本当。
I didn't see any suspicious people going near it.
そうっすか。お忙しいのに本当恐縮です。
Took around an hour, but Usami's request to stay near the station locker. There was still some time before our next meeting, so I did her a favor. After organizing my memory, I calmed down. Oh, and Usami. She didn't seem all that happy. What happened? I can't imagine she didn't catch the culprit, at least.
はるちゃん。
Bucky gave her hopeful eyes. I didn't know when it started, but my palm was full of sweat. Very quickly, Usami lowered her head in front of
ごめ
Tsubaki.
ん。犯人には逃げられた。
Usami's expression was twisted by agony. So she does have an expression like that.
気にしないで。はるちゃんがそばにいてくれてるって思うだけで。いや、あんまりそんな余裕なかったけど、とにかく心強かったよ。
ごめん。
I also put on my most cheerful tone. Now come on, don't beat yourself up over it. We did what the kidnapper wanted us to do. We didn't contact the police either. After he gets the ransom, he'll definitely be satisfied and release Hiroaki. At that, Usami suddenly spoke
そ
up.
れはないです。
What?
Eh?
Are you saying that Hiroaki-kun isn't going to come back?
はい。
He said that with no sign of hesitation. Why? I know we can't guarantee that he'll keep his promise, but why are you so sure of it?
そうだよ。犯人は身代金を受け取ったんだから、あとは信じるしか。
Tommy slowly shook her
犯
head.
人はまだ
What did you say?
どういうことかな。私、ちゃんと指定通りハンバーガーショップの前にケースを置いたよ。
In the face of Tsubaki's questions, Usami just continued to shake her head.
椿、今日の朝最悪の場合身代金だけは奪われないようにすると。
Did she swap it out or something?
そうすればたとえ犯人に逃げられたとしてももう一度交渉のチャンスはあるとか。
So I'm trying to think, did we ever confirm that it was actually in there?
だからそうさせてもらった。
どうや
覚えがないか？
何のこと。
And Usami slowly reached behind her, opening the half-closed door behind her. She picked something up.
ケース。
Tsubaki gasped. It wasn't just Tsubaki. Everyone was looking at Usami in awe. I, who debriefed Tsubaki earlier, had already guessed what stunt Usami pulled. You swapped
さ
cases.
すが財産です。そうです。混雑したセントラル街で私は椿にぶつかっていったん。
Tsubaki seemed to
そういえ
remember.
ば誰かにぶつかって一度ケースを落とし。
その時にすり替えさせてもらった。私が用意していたケースの中身は空。
When did you prepare
朝
it?
一番に椿がケースを購入した後、同じものを買わせてもらいました。
What a girl. So the kidnapper took the empty briefcase and got away.
身代金の株券はまだ。
That means Usami had held this briefcase while chasing the culprit. Suddenly, Tsubaki's father opened his
それ
mouth.
じゃあお金はまだ。
Looks like he's still not ready to let go of this land. His words carried a trace of
はる
happiness.
ちゃん。
Tucky sighed, moved. I sighed too, but mine held a completely different meaning from Tsubaki's. Yeah, that means today was a
だと
stalemate. Even though her expression was back to confidence, there was still a shred of anxiety in her words. Just don't make the kidnapper too angry.
それが怖いです。
That's all you have to say to even realize that Hiraki-kun's life is on the line. Meddling little.
浅井くんやめて。はるちゃんはよか。
浅井君の気持ちもありがたいけれど、あの株券も家族の身体がかかった大切なものなんだ。
I wonder if what's gonna happen is that Usami's gonna foil him, get Hiraki back, and then they're gonna have all this stock and it's gonna go up in price or something, and they're gonna be even better off than before. I wonder if that's what'll happen, something kind of different than what Mao's expecting. True, sorry. I almost put my laudable persona. You thought they wouldn't release the hostage even if he got the ransom, right, Usami?
はい。犯人。魔王は恐ろしく慎重な人物です。もっと言えば、身代金を渡そうが渡すまいが。
Oh, I see. That's how it is then. Since the hostage isn't going to be coming back anyways, might as well keep him from getting the ransom, right? Then mockingly, how logical you, Usami, are a woman so truly logical that it's frightening. Usami is silent.
警察を頼らなかった時点で責任はすべて僕が持つつもりだよ。
そうだよ。たとえ警察の人がいても犯人は捕まえられなかったかもしれないんだ。
I don't like watching scenes like
じゃあ
this.
とりあえず株券を渡してもらおうか。
Toki's father asked Usami for his family's savings. Usami said that she understood and opened the case. Unimaginable.
どういうことだ？
Her eyes widened. Usami's face was bleached white in an instant. In contrast, a shadow of victory welled up in my chest. As if there were a demon bearing his fangs inside me, mocking Usami.
ない。
Oh, well, that's another plot twist. I like it. A shocked Usami and Usami turned to stone murmured. Her face was adorned with an expression of
株券
defeat.
が身代金が消えている。
Damn. Uh-oh.
ちょっと聞いてくれよ、京介ちゃんよ。
Okay, I don't know what quite happened. I'm trying to think, did we end up switching the briefcase at some point? Like, we got her? I don't know though. You would think she would have like checked the briefcase to make sure they were in there before, right? So somebody played somebody. Like crazy. Anyways, I think we're gonna end it off here. I think this will be a good stopping point. That was quite a lot that happened, and I want to leave it off here because that was good. That's good. That's all I can say. I want to see how Usami reacts to that later, because we were clearly gloating a little bit on the inside, you know, now of course. But we're gonna go ahead and leave it at that. See how this ends up going afterwards, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Have a good one.